Want to know how I landed my very first client on Upwork? Hey there guys, my name's Christian Lofts, and in today's video I'm going to be detailing my experience on Upwork. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's video, I'm going to give you a statistic. An estimated 64 million Americans, or 38% of the US workforce, are turning to freelancing. So it is a prevalent opportunity on the rise, and it is your time to take charge of your career and get into freelancing. So, the agenda of today's video will be based upon what is Upwork and a bit of a background information into the nuts and bolts of how it works, how to optimize your profile, and I'm going to be detailing my experience. So with that said, grab your preferred beverage of choice, whether that be an iced long black or a coffee or a tea. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Ching! Alrighty, what is Upwork? So I'm sure you're well aware of what Upwork is. It's effectively a platform that connects freelancers with clients to complete projects for them. So the number one feature being the freelance search. So when a client wants to search for a particular developer or freelancer to complete their job, they can use the search bar to do so, and these are the results that come up. It'll show, obviously, there is some algorithm behind that as to who ranks first. We'll go a little bit more in depth in that later on in the video. And the other function is the job creation. So the client also has the potential to create a job and receive proposals for that. So I'm going to touch on the algorithm of Upwork, and no, I can't give you the secret sauce behind it. I can't give you all the nuts and bolts, but what I do know is that there are specific criteria that the algorithm looks for. One being your job success score. This is your job completion rate. This is your time to reply to clients. It's based on many different factors, but one of those being feedback. Now, feedback is such a prevalent term on Upwork, and it's based on private or public client feedback. Most people know about the public, but they're not aware of the private. Now, this is where I have a bit of beef with these freelancing platforms in the sense that it is subjective. What I mean by that is you can do the absolute best job to your capabilities, but you can't control the client from giving you a 4 out of 5 star for no apparent reason. So I guess if that does happen to you, you need to follow up your client and you need to understand why they are doing that. But with private, it's a bit more difficult to do so. There is also public feedback, and this is where you can chase up the client who performed this feedback for you, and you can actually ask for an answer as to why they did so. Before I move on, I want to touch on this idea of social desirability bias. And it's the idea that as humans, when we reply to surveys, we're more likely to give a positive feedback just to avoid conflict and anything of the sort. That's proven true in the public feedback system, hence why Upwork has probably implemented the private feedback system to avoid this social desirability bias. All right, moving on. So the JSS, your job satisfaction score, is calculated over 6, 12, and 24-month periods, and it is favorable to longer term contracts. So that's something to keep in mind when applying for jobs. I know as a new freelancer, it may be difficult to get into longer term contracts, but these are things that really impact your score or have more weight on your score. Moving on, freelancer search ranking. So as I showed you before, this is where a client will type into the search bar, maybe they're after a certain job, and there is an algorithm behind that. So I'm going to quickly touch on this. You need to place the relevant keywords in your profile. Obviously, your JSS comes into play here. Your activity and responsiveness. Now, this is key. One thing I can understand from this is when you apply for jobs, maybe it's wise to apply for jobs in your own time zone so that you can reply in a prompt fashion. And lastly, the rotation. Profiles are periodically rotated for fairness. Now, moving on, proposal ranking and prioritization. Now, what I mean by this is when a client posts a job, they're going to be receiving a lot of proposals. So how does Upwork rank those proposals? Now, I can't tell you the secret sauce, but it's basically on a best match algorithm. Obviously, we've touched on JSS, so that is something to keep in mind. People can boost their proposal by paying, and there are the client filters and timing. So some clients will specify that their freelancer only work in Asia, for example. So they will only see those freelancers. Now, what exactly does the client see when they make a job? And I'm going to show you a screenshot. So this is a job posting that someone will put up. As you can see here, there is 47 proposals. That's a lot of people to get through. So when your proposal goes unanswered, it's quite evident that they are overwhelmed, the client. This is a top client or a best match by the algorithms means. As we can see here, it's key to note that you only see the first 2 lines of the freelancer and you see their badges as well. And I want to quickly touch on this top rated plus or other badges. So this is based off the Upwork website, Upwork Talents badges. We've got Rising Talent. When you're new to Upwork, to become a Rising Talent, you must be invited. Have a 100% complete profile. Keep your availability status updated. Have positive performance on Upwork. High quality proposals. Have a JSS of at least 90%. So I guess if you're starting out, you want to try and aim for this Rising Talent badge, as it'll give you, what are the benefits? Display on your profile and projects, 30 free connects. I guess it's just something to show off to your potential hirers or potential clients. So this is effectively what the client sees. And I want to conclude this slide on, you only see the first 2 lines of the proposal. So you need to make those first 2 lines snappy, to the point, and eye-catching. Profile optimization. Here we go. All right. So we all know that you need to complete your profile. You need to get 100% completion rate, use relevant keywords, titles, tags, descriptions, build strong work history, earn badges, as I mentioned earlier, and most importantly, stay active and responsive on the platform. So this is where it comes into try and find clients in your own time zone so you can reply, and these are things that you need to be aware of. When it comes to completing your profile, you need to attain an 100% rate of completion. So to gain 50%, you need your profile photo, profile overview, 1 employment history item, and at least 1 skill tag. And then for the 100%, you need to complete the items here. And that's basically it for profile optimization. I'm not going to go too in depth in that. Now, how did I land my first client? So I landed my first client as a SQL developer. I helped my first client complete their university assignment. Yes, let's go. I got paid a total of $10. Now, I want to show you my process of how I apply for jobs. I'm going to basically show you my proposal. So as you can see here in my proposal, I've proposed a very low offer, and that's due to my lack of experience on Upwork. So I need to get my foot in the door. I need to provide a competitive rate, which I can increase later once I get more clients. But for now, I've kept it at 5. And there's a bit of a paradox there in the sense that the lower your rate, the more disposable you are. Because if the less you're being paid, I guess it's easier to get rid of you. I guess that's the logic that clients have. And that's a bit dangerous because you can have really bad clients, which I'm going to tell you in my experience later on in this video, but you can really come up against people that really disrespect your skill set. Now, this was my cover letter. Very short, very snappy, because I have done some work on Fiverr. But I'm going to show you my new method of how I write cover letters. And yes, I do use ChatGPT to write my cover letter, but I've learned the hard way that you still need to read the job description. That is an absolute must, and clients may call you out on that. I've had that happen to me before. So effectively, I have 3 main templates of jobs that I want to apply for. So if I want to apply for a Power BI role, I generally have a very small template which has a lot of testimonials. So these are actually YouTube videos that I've created from actual clients that have given me a testimonial in a private link. And the client can actually look at that and they can see, hey, this guy's legit. So this is basically a cover letter, and then I put that into ChatGPT and I give it the commands basically to integrate that into a proposal with the client's keywords. Now, you still need to double check what AI is producing, because the problem is if everybody uses AI, the output will be very similar. So you need to stand out somehow. So a bit of human touch does not go astray. So this is effectively my proposal. I did give a few of my profile highlights, and this is from my Fiverr because I have been freelancing on Fiverr, so I put that work there. I couldn't tell you if that helped or not. I submitted a review, a screenshot of a review that I had on Fiverr. I don't know if that helped, but I just put it in there anyway because I didn't have any projects at the time. This was probably my 30th proposal that I sent out, and I successfully got the job. Now, what I want to tell you is going to be critical advice for new freelancers, because working on Upwork is not all sunshine and rainbows and lollipops. And let me tell you why. Let me go to the messages. Now, I'm not saying not to take these jobs, but I'm saying that you need to be aware of what you're getting yourself into on Upwork, because one bad review can really stuff you up. Now, I'm going to tell you my experience working with my first client, which hasn't been a positive one, but I'm still pushing through it. So I basically completed her database assignment. So first of all, I had an hour and 10 minutes to complete this. So I'm already under the constraint of time pressure. Hey, I don't mind. I'm willing to do that. But it's a bit of an orange flag. You don't want that time pressure put on you. So I managed to complete the job. But then to my avail, I received this message. Now, I double-checked, triple-checked my work and verified with AI that my work was correct. So to my best capability, I did this job. And I'm going to go back to my original point where this whole platform is a subjective shit show. What I mean by that is clients can give you bad feedback no matter, even if you've done a good job. That's the risk you need to take. This was my message that I received from her now, and I sent her this professional message. And I also opened up a support ticket in Upwork to see what my options were, because she was threatening to take my review down or change my review. And then I received a message later saying that it was her mistake. So this was my first experience on Upwork. As you can see, it wasn't a very positive one, but nonetheless, I got the 5-star review. I got in, I got out, and that's all that matters, because now I've got that 5-star review. I can, when applying for different jobs, different proposals, I can submit that in my proposal. So luckily I got out of this unscathed, but be aware that as a new freelancer, you're going to have these really bad clients if you're offering low rates because you're disposable. I do have another client I'm currently working with who I'm not going to comment too much on that, but is also not the best because I'm charging low rate, but just be careful. And I want to conclude this whole video on this statement or these statements. So people talk about profile optimization. They're talking about all these tools and tactics and tips. Hey, at the end of the day, you need discipline. You need consistency. You need the discipline to turn up every day. You need the discipline to have high standards for your work, and you need excellent communication with your clients. Failing any of these, you're probably going to fail on Upwork. And I'm giving you this honest advice because I have years of experience on Fiverr, but this is what it takes to become a freelancer. And not everybody is cut out to be a freelancer because it is a grind, it is competitive. But if you have these traits, discipline and consistency and excellent standards, you will succeed. And I guarantee you that you will succeed. Having said that, that's been the end of the video. I hope you've learned something, and I hope I haven't discouraged you from going on Upwork, but that's been it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Please help me out. Please help the channel out. Give me a subscribe, a like, a comment, anything.